following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
The blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Never say die. Never say die. Keep on. Never say die. Blackness. Never say die.
In the midst of sorrow, you can see up when looking down. A brighter day tomorrow will bring. You hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to your dreams, yeah. As long as you keep your head to the sky, can we? As long as you keep your head to the sky.
That's right. You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. Yes, you can. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, your host and White House correspondent, joining you live in afternoon drive time right here in hot and sunny LA. You know, I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Always follow me on social media, all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. And there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app and check out some of the new fancy features, including the open mic feature. If you just open that up, you can send me a little voice memo. I can hear your voice, your warm and friendly voice. And if you have any thoughts you want to share, any comments you have, maybe something I said, something one of our guests said, right? Don't be shy. Speak up using the open mic feature on KBLA, the KBLA Talk 1580 app. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast powered by KBLA. Now, as you know, A More Perfect Union, it's a pretty popular title. And so I want to make sure people are subscribing to the right A More Perfect Union. And that would be the one powered by KBLA Talk 1580, the only Black-owned and operated talk station west of the Mississippi. We have a great hour in store for you today in short order. I'll be joined with Kelli Ware. She is an author, a certified life coach, and she has a new book out called Unconventional Grief, Grieving the Loss of a Less Than Perfect Parent. You don't want to miss some of the insights she has to share related to that book. But in short order, I'll be joined with Paul Mecurio. He is very familiar because he's been on the show before. And so we invited him back. He's an Emmy and Peabody Award-winning comedian. He works and performs regularly on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which is nominated for an Emmy. And he's a commentator on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and he has his own podcast called Inside Out with Paul Mecurio. He's had guests like Paul McCartney and Neil deGrasse Tyson. He'll be joining us momentarily. But now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off, the Washington Post is reporting that the Smithsonian has responded to Trump's push to review, quote unquote, divisive narratives. Yes, the Smithsonian Secretary Lonnie G. Bunch III, he sent a letter to staff just earlier today detailing how the cultural institution is responding to recent White House demands as it comes under increased pressure to weed out what the Trump administration calls divisive narratives in its exhibits. In the letter to staff, a copy which was obtained by the Post, Lonnie Bunch said that he has assembled a small internal team to respond to the White House request for information on the organization and its mission. Lonnie Bunch said that during a lunch meeting with President Trump last week, he had sensed Trump's admiration and regard for the Smithsonian, but he also told staff that he had expressed to the president, our independence is paramount. The Smithsonian is rooted in rigorous scholarship and expertise, nonpartisanship, and accuracy. Those are words that Lonnie Bunch put on paper in a letter, which was first reported by the New York Times this afternoon. In a recent post on social media, Trump called the Smithsonian, quotes, out of control and too focused on, quote, how bad slavery was, followed by a list released by the White House of programming that the administration opposes. And so we're going to keep our eye on this. Some people wonder, why not, send a number of the exhibits in the Black Smithsonian to affiliate museums for the next couple of years, if you know what I mean. But we'll see where this thing goes. We'll see where it goes. In other news, the 3 Trump cabinet members, they have multiple primary residence mortgages. This is what ProPublica is reporting. The Trump administration has vowed to go after anyone who got lower mortgage rates by claiming more than one primary residence on their loan papers. This is the basis by which they're going after folks like Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, and most recently going after Lisa Cook over at the Federal Reserve. Well, there are several cabinet members in the Trump administration that have their own issues on the subject. The White House has targeted opponents, including a Fed governor, for having more than one primary residence on their loan papers. But ProPublica found in one case, a Trump cabinet secretary got 2 such mortgages in quick succession. When we come forward, we're going to get Paul Mecurio's reaction to this and more. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org.
Before I go on.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Let's preserve Black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from Black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, Black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of Black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. As we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and really delighted to welcome back to the show our friend Paul Mecurio. He's an Emmy and Peabody Award-Winning comedian. He works and performs regularly on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which is nominated for an Emmy. Hello. He's a commentator on CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, and he has his own podcast called Inside Out with Paul Mecurio, and such guests as Paul McCartney and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Welcome back to the show, my friend. Oh.
My apologies. I muted myself.
No worries.
It's my first time using a computer or any electronics at all. I've been living in a cave because I'm so afraid of the Trump administration and RFK. So I don't know what I'm doing. Great to see you, buddy. Thank you for having me back, and love the show as always. So thanks.
Well, it's great to see you, and we're going to be talking about RFK in short order. But first, I want to talk about AOC. AOC making some news. CNN reporting that a bipartisan group of House lawmakers have introduced stock trading ban legislation. House and Senate lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, we know that they've traded stocks and made investments in the market, but there's a growing concern that such transactions, they expose this underlying question that's long dogged Congress. Can lawmakers play the market without generating suspicion that their access to information gives them an unfair advantage? What do you think about AOC teaming up with Republican lawmakers to actually move this legislation in the House?
I think she obviously got her insider trading trades out of the way, so she's good. And she's, it's like this is like banning darkness or evil. Like, this is the easiest. This is so insulting to me as a voter, because they're making it seem like they're doing something. They all knew the bill was coming. What do you think they did? There's going to be a I did M&A. I was a lawyer and investment banker on Wall Street. I did M&A deals. And we used to have code names and everything, literally like Cobra and Kleenex, just the crazy stuff. But it gets out and people know. So I feel like this is sort of just a hollow gesture. I think it's great. I don't think that lawmakers should be trading, but to me, this feels like lawmakers are trying to act like they did something. You know, it's like when your kid cuts the grass, but he doesn't really cut the grass. He kind of says, "Oh, I did," and then he stands on it a few times to make it look like it's shorter. That's about what this is to me.
Do you also read this as AOC's way of sort of tacking towards the middle a little bit? My suspicion is that we could see AOC run for Senate or something else in the near future. Is this her way of being able to point to something and demonstrate, hey, I can even get stuff done with Republicans who don't like me?
Yeah, I do. I think that's right. And I think that's smart of her. I think that what worries me about the left and anybody in politics is you don't have to have the whole pie when you sit down. Just take some of the pie and then wait to get the rest of the pie, right? Like if there are certain social, cultural issues that are important to those on the left or the extreme left, if you can't get them all, it doesn't mean it's a failure. Just take small gains. And I think I like the idea that she's trying. I read it the same way, and I do think that it's a smart move by the Democratic Party to sort of, if this is is the case, to sort of come a little bit more to the middle, because that's what's going to get you in power, and then you can get your agenda done more effectively.
But is this bill a little bit of the placebo effect? I mean, again, CNN reporting that one key difference in that the House bill compared to Senator Josh Hawley's bill is reach into the executive branch and whatever impact it might have on Trump as a result. We know that House lawmakers said that they would be open to adding other branches of government to the legislation and are in contact with their Senate counterparts, but wanted to start with the legislative branch first. We have talked about, it's been reported, so many allegations of corruption coming out of the White House, coming out of the Supreme Court. And if it's not outright corruption, certainly actions that raise ethical questions, to say the very least. Is this bill a nothing burger? Is this, to your point, really just political theater more than anything else? Especially at a time when we need legislation to rein in the executive branch, to rein in the judicial branch.
I think if anybody thinks that they're going to rein in Trump when it comes to money, which is his altar that he bows to, is kidding themselves. They could pass the law and he's still going to figure out a way around it, or just break the law and then say he didn't break the law. Are we forgetting that this is the president who's like a child who just ate 5 Oreo cookies and is standing there with Oreo all over his face going, I didn't eat any cookies. I denied eating cookies. And then he's got 3 friends going, yeah, he didn't eat any cookies. Whatever that guy said, he's the boss. So I feel like I do think it's a nothing burger. I think that the time is better spent dealing with issues that sort of have a greater impact on the average person, because the average person is probably not even invested in the stock market. I don't know how much they're directly hurt by insider trading, to be honest with you. And I feel like Donald Trump, this is a man that does whatever he wants, wherever he wants. And so to think that anything is going to squelch him in this area when it comes to finance, he has Bitcoin, he has hats, he had water, he had steaks, like it's endless with him. You could point to so many conflicts of interest. I mean, I think it goes nowhere. Even if it passes, I don't think it has any big effect on anything.
Well, one thing that certainly has a big effect on everything, which is our healthcare system. And today, a very defiant Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he questioned vaccine data and he defended his record under a bipartisan Senate grilling. It was a must-see hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Where he went back and forth with both Republican and Democratic senators. I think one of the low points of the hearing, in my view, was when he was being questioned by Virginia Senator Mark Warner. And, he would not acknowledge that 1 million people, more than 1 million people, died of COVID. The fact that this man is the head of our Health and Human Services department in our federal government, and will not acknowledge that. It seemed to me to be a slap in the face to the families who have loved ones that will never pull up a seat at the kitchen table.
Right. I completely agree. And I'm not surprised, because I go back to Trump. Trump's the kid with the Oreo all over his face saying there's no Oreo on my face, right? I mean, this is the directive. This is how everybody underneath Trump works. And 50% of the country, or 50 or 49, or enough to get him voted, are okay with that. January 6th wasn't really a riot, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. I mean, what happened today was an insult to me. I mean, you can't get any facts. RFK is like, his whole mantra is, trust me, bro. Just trust me. That's okay. If you're, that's a weed dealer says that, okay? not the Health and Human Services guy. I want
not
some
the weed dealer. The weed dealer said, "Take me out of this."
it's like, and it's like, when you ask him for evidence or proof, it's like, well, I did the homework, but the dog just happened to eat the one sheet with all the facts on it. Like, we're at this point where you ask him for proof and he produces like a shoebox, like your grandfather had, with UFO clippings and Elvis articles that Elvis is still alive. So what this really is, and what this administration is, it's about disruption for the sake of disruption, right? And he is the point person for that. I think Trump is so hell-bent on getting Nobel Prizes and going down in history and getting him space on Mount Rushmore, and that all it is disruption for disruption's sake. That's what all of this is with RFK. It's just throwing stuff out there, getting enough people riled up. And what ends up happening? We're lost, because it's like you and I are driving, right? And you're driving like 100 miles an hour. You're Trump in the administration. And then you put the car on two wheels. And you're like, this is great, isn't it? And I'm like, okay, but what are we going to do now? And you're like, I don't know. I've never done this before. And then we go right off the cliff. That's what this is. I mean, you look at him trying to produce, RFK trying to produce any kind of evidence. It's like asking a toddler to fill out a tax return. All you're going to get is like a drawing of dinosaurs. And then, it's like, I have more faith in Bigfoot findings. Okay. So I think that this was a really good day for a pushback, but I don't know if he cares, because he's got enough MAGA people that will go along with what he and whatever his boss wants. So I sit there and I go, Ron, good for you for pushing back, but does it have any effect? And that's what worries me.
Well, Paul, he may not care, but I think what was also noteworthy, it at least appeared that there were at least 3 Republicans that cared, including Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who was in advancing Kennedy's nomination in the first place. He joined Democrats in criticizing Kennedy's actions. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina at one point told RFK that his remarks that he gave to the panel during the confirmation process seemed to contradict what he's doing now as health secretary. What do you make of that? What do you make of the fact that these 3 Republicans who really could sit there like the rest and not say anything, the fact that they're going on the record saying, dude, you ain't it.
Hang on a second. I think I just heard those 3 guys get primaried. Yep, they're out, thanks to Trump. I think that what that tells me is that they have heard behind the scenes that RFK is not in good stead with the administration. The feedback is too negative, and I'd be willing to bet that they know that RFK is gone. And so it's safe for them to imply that this guy is off base, because I was surprised by that too. I mean, it was really a very simple hearing. It should have been, right? When he pushes back RFK and says, well, what's your evidence that vaccines work? Oh, I don't know, 8 billion people living. How about that? How about that versus your nonsense where, you get the guy that works at Midas Muffler to be on the committee that oversees vaccines, because you ultimately really want to make the decision. I think they know that his days are numbered. That's what I think.
Maybe. In our remaining minutes, I want to, speaking of days being numbered, your boss, Steve Colbert, has returned this week for the first late show of the season.
We have. Yeah.
CBS
I worked on the show. Yeah.
in July that the show will end next year. Of course, after Colbert had criticized CBS's settlement with Trump's administration. How are you adjusting to, the first week of the last season of the show? And what should we look forward to this coming season?
Well, the adjustment has been a lot of being curled up in a ball and weeping. No, it's we were surprised definitely that we got canceled. I mean, I can't speak for the whole show or Stephen, but like the show was buzzing along and, but not surprised because, Trump is the same guy that tried to get SNL canceled in 2016 when he came into power, remember, because they didn't like Alec Baldwin's impressions of him, right? So this is a guy with very thin skin, and I'll leave the skin jokes at that. You can make your own. But I think that what you're going to see is just more of the same. I think, look, I go back to The Daily Show. I was a writer on that show. I worked on the Colbert Report. Like, we just go after, the show goes after people who deserve it. A lot of times the ones in power get it the most because they're empowered and therefore exerting the most influence. So does it seem like we're ganging up on him? Yeah, but also, I mean, look at what he's doing, so Trump, I mean. And by the way, just the fact that I said negative things about Trump today, I've just been told I've been audited by the IRS. How about that, buddy? No,
we pray not.
It's a sad thing because it really does feel between what he's doing with the Smithsonian, pulling his impeachment stuff out of there, what he's doing with the cultural aspects of our country, trying to cleanse it of anything that's disruptive to Republicans, and then sort of squelching voices like that, settling the lawsuit for $16 million with CBS, which was a specious lawsuit, is feeling more and more like, we got a dictatorship going on. And but that's just me. I'm not talking on behalf of the show. So I think the show's just knowing the show. It'll just keep doing what it does. Stephen's he's a very high-minded guy and he's very respectful. He doesn't take the low road. So you could tell like not much has been said after the initial announcement. And, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but on 8 or 9 months, that's for sure.
Well, we'll definitely be watching. Our thanks to Emmy Award-winning comedian Paul Mecurio.
Can I just mention one thing real quick? I'm sorry.
Sure, real
I have
quick.
a show called Permission to Speak. It's on Patreon now. It's patreon.com/permission to speak. It's my off-Broadway show directed by Frank Oz that involves audiences telling stories, and we're online now with it, and people can support it. So Patreon, Permission to Speak. But thank you. I always have a great time on here, with you. So thanks, man.
Likewise, we'll support Permission to Speak, and also we'll be watching the last season of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
And if you want to come to a taping, you let me know. I'll see what I can do for you.
Absolutely. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, we're going to be joined with author Kelli Ware talking about her new book, Unconventional Grief, Grieving the Loss of a Less Than Perfect Parent.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Singer Montel Jordan revealed on NBC's Today Show that his prostate cancer has returned, now at stage 2 after surgery last year.
Fully confident. I know God is healer. I also know that I have the greatest of care professionals and people that are alongside of me.
Diagnosed in 2024, the singer says he remains optimistic thanks to early detection. Washington, D.C. police officers will get a 13% raise next month under a new agreement. Black Mayor Muriel Bowser also announced plans to boost the force to 4,000 officers. The department currently has about 3,200. And Black Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown and 19 other states are challenging a federal policy that denies bond hearings for undocumented immigrants. They argue indefinite detention without hearings violates due process, harms families and economies, and unfairly impacts longtime residents with no criminal history. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Tough in Sylmar, 210 westbound before the 118. A crash is being cleared out of the left lane and overall slowing, backing up from the 2, getting out of the Montrose area. Now we're also looking at the drive on the 5. A lot of people seeking relief from that 210 westbound, and they're taking the 5 north. They're on the brakes, leaving the 134 freeway and stretches all the way to the 14. The 170 northbound in turn also feeling a little extra pressure away from Victory Boulevard to the 5.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
If the NBA proves that Clippers owner Steve Ballmer violated salary cap rules with the extra $28 million for Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers could face significant punishment. The NBA could take draft picks away from the Clippers or fine the organization as much as $7 million. The league also could hand down a suspension to Ballmer or Clippers general manager Lawrence Frank. The LA Sparks have 4 games left in the WNBA regular season to make the playoffs, something they have not done in 4 years. The Sparks are a game and a half behind the Indiana Fever for the 8th and final playoff spot. Next game for the Sparks is Friday night in Atlanta against the Atlanta Dream. The Dodgers need a win tonight in Pittsburgh to avoid getting swept in the 3-game series. In the Dodgers' 3-0 loss Wednesday night, they were 0 for 4 at the plate with the bases loaded. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that hits Black families hardest. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and it's not a normal part of aging. Early signs like repeating questions, missed appointments, even trouble handling bills might seem small, but they matter. The good news? There are treatment options available that may slow AD when diagnosed early. Don't wait. Visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me!
National news of consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I am delighted to welcome our next guest, Kelli Ware. She is an author, a certified life coach, a Navy veteran, and motivational speaker, and has a powerful new book that I think is right on time. I think it's going to meet a lot of people exactly where they're at, helping to reframe the conversation on grief. Reframe the conversation on grief in ways that resonate with people who have lived through some pretty complicated family dynamics. I know Thanksgiving is right around the corner. It's the holiday season. It triggers a lot of anxiety for a lot of people because there's unresolved stuff that they're experiencing with members of their family, including but not limited to their parents. Her new book is called Unconventional Grief: Grieving the Loss of a Less Than Perfect Parent. Kelli, welcome to the show.
Dr. Corday, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here, and I welcome the opportunity to have a good conversation with you.
Well, we're so happy to have you here. Talk to us about your own origin story that took you on a journey that helped you to write a book like this.
Wow. How much time do we have for this interview? So the short of it
High level,
right? Bullet points, as my brothers tell me. So the short of it is I am a native of the Washington, D.C. area, born and raised there. And I grew up in a household with two parents. And to the outside looking in, we look like the Huxtables from The Cosby Show, right? But on the inside of the walls of the home was a much different picture. And so my father, who is my hero, super loving, all the things, and my mother, who was physically and verbally abusive to me. She was also a drug addict. And we had a very strained relationship, never had a healthy semblance of any form of a mother-daughter relationship. And so I lived life going through the trials and tribulations of navigating that relationship. And when she passed away, I thought that I was fine. Immediately after she transitioned, I was good. I planned the funeral, all the things, all the ducks were in the row. And the day after her funeral, I felt like I wanted to die. And so that is the impetus of this book. And it is because my grief experience was anything but traditional. And I didn't want other people who have experienced what I experienced to feel like they were alone. Because I know when I was going through that process, I thought that I was the only one. And so, we'll get into the interview. But yeah, that's the reason why I wrote the book. Wow.
That's pretty serious stuff. And so, talk to us about, some of the experiences that you actually felt comfortable writing about, because I'm sure there are a lot of experiences that you left out of the book. It seems that writing a book like this, might be emotionally exhausting. I mean, how did you get through the process of even just writing the book? As somebody who is also an author, I know how much writing a book can take out of you. Period, let alone emotionally. How did you get through it?
So for me, I never intended to write this book. This was not something that I consciously sat down and said, let me write this book. As a part of attempting to overcome the grief journey, I started journaling and just writing things down. And one of the things that my therapist encouraged me to do was to be honest about how I was really feeling about my mother and about how I felt after her transition in order to just get it out, right? And as I started writing, it was like things were just coming together. And so since this is my third book, I was like, well, I know I'm not the only one, right? And the reason why I put less than perfect parent is maybe your parent wasn't a drug addict or, addicted to alcohol. Maybe they were addicted to gambling. Maybe they were absent, right? But at some point in life, they have to transition. And if you outlive them, what do you do with the emotions that you hold, that you're stuck with, right? You don't get to place them on anyone else. And so I wrote the book as a means of getting through my own grief journey, but then also I felt empowered to help other people understand their grief, understand what they're feeling, give them permission to feel those negative, crazy feelings, have those thoughts that you're having, and then also figure out a way to overcome dealing with that type of grief.
Were there moments where you felt like you were telling your mama's business? And
yes.
And how did you overcome that? Because I think there are a lot of folks that, you know, feel compelled to protect the parent who may have disappointed them or who may have harmed them in certain ways, and, you know, find a way to sort of excuse the behavior. And, you know, when it comes to any sort of public forum, let alone a book, you know, there are a lot of people out there that may feel the need to protect the image or the facade of that parent. Did you experience that? And if so, how did you overcome it?
So for me, I did not experience that. And the reason why I didn't is I am the person in the family that's going to have the conversation. We're going to talk about it, right? If it's an elephant in the room, the elephant will be addressed if I'm there. And so I have always been a catalyst for courageous conversations. So for me, as long as I'm telling the truth, then there is no law against the truth or no harm against the truth. And I felt it necessary to talk about that because so many people do hide behind you don't talk about the Black mama, right? She is at the head of the family. She is the person who made it all happen. So most people don't understand the experience that I had, right? And some people, they had it, but they're too afraid to have the conversation. So I wrote this book for a couple of reasons. One, to begin the conversation. This kind of grief is not, it's normal to experience. It's not normal to talk about. And so I wrote the book to start the conversation, but I also wrote the book for parents who are less than perfect and they're still living. Read this book, see the impact that you had on your children, and then do what you have to do to repair the relationship as healthy as possible so that your children don't experience the grief that I experienced when you transition. So I'm not afraid to talk about what needs to be talked about, as long as we are telling the truth and keeping things honest. You know, I had to be mindful of my brothers. I do have two older brothers. I'm the youngest and the only girl. I had to be mindful of my father, who, while he wasn't married to my mother, when she passed, still at some point, that was his wife. But at the end of the day, I am not going to suffocate my voice or dampen my truth in order to make other people feel comfortable. Because at what cost? Me? No, I'm not willing to do that. And when the truth really comes out and people begin to see, there's a level of understanding that's had, right? And so I didn't tell this story to demonize my mother. In fact, I talk about how I learned my mother's story and it helped me to forgive her. And that was a very imperative part of my grieving process as well. So it's a balanced conversation.
When we come forward, I want to talk about your journey to forgiveness. It's not easy to do. There are a number of folks who are listening to us live in Los Angeles and across the country right now, who may not have the tools to forgive, may not think that they will ever be able to reach a point of forgiveness. They might even think that the forgiveness is for the other people, as opposed to that forgiveness being the thing that sets them free and allows them to lay their burdens down. And so when we come forward, I want to talk about your journey to forgiveness. Like Miss Jane Pittman, I'm sure it ain't been no crystal stair. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward with the author of a new book, Unconventional Grief, Grieving the Loss of a Less Than Perfect Parent. More with Kelli Ware when we come forward.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
If you're an African American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
Thinking about going electric? Now is the perfect time. Electric vehicles cost less to run, don't need gas, and need fewer repairs than gas-powered cars. You can also save with federal and state tax credits, and in some areas, qualify for rebates on home charging stations. To learn more, visit www.breathesocal.org. That's www.breathesocal.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and she is Kelli Ware. She is the author of a new book that you need to go get your hands on. It's called Unconventional Grief, Grieving the Loss of a Less Than Perfect Parent. As I said before, we're heading into the holiday season. And I know there's a lot of people that experience a lot of anxiety because somebody in the home, somebody at the Thanksgiving table, don't sit right with them. And this book is really about really easing on down the road on your own healing journey. And with that, Kelli, I want to give you a chance to share a little bit about your healing journey, specifically forgiveness. It's really tough for people. And I think a lot of folks got it twisted. They think that forgiveness is about letting the other person who may have harmed you off the hook, right? They think that it is not about accountability, but it's about letting them off the hook, when in fact, forgiveness, in my view, is also about laying our own burdens down and freeing us of the thing that's holding us back. And so what exactly was the thing that was holding you back the most in your relationships that was tied to the grief that you had related to your mom?
Wow, it's a great question. So because I never really received the nurturing and love of a mother the way that I should have received it, it prevented me from being able to connect to other people. And so when I went through the grief journey, I noticed a lot of things about myself, right? The other thing was, because I am an overachiever, that overachieving came from me trying to win my mother's love. The only time she would really, be, any level of loving towards me was when she would brag about me to her friends. So I figured, okay, the more I do, maybe she'll take some of that bragging, right, that energy that she's giving to others, and she'll turn it towards me. And when that didn't happen, let me tell you what I discovered going through therapy is that when I continued in overachieving, right? My mother was a federal employee, so I became a federal employee, and I rose to a level that was higher than her. So I'm going to show you, lady, like, oh yeah, you did this, but I did it better. My mother was a hairdresser. She's a kitchen beautician, back in the day, the press and comb and stuff, all the things. She had people lined up outside of the door, and I was forced into childhood labor to help her with her clients. So I became a licensed cosmetologist, right? She never got her license. I got mine. So now I'm one step above you. So I didn't realize that I had made it my business to outdo everything that she did as a means to attempt to heal or attempt to overcome. And I never reached the level of healing until I forgave my mother. That was the key and the catalyst for me to really embark on a healthy healing journey.
What was the hardest thing to forgive her for?
Let me see, because I got a whole laundry list. No, the hardest thing to forgive my mother for was the fact that she knew that I was being molested in 2 different countries, okay? So in the US and in Europe, and she never did anything about it. And in fact, she kept putting me in those environments as a child to allow it to happen. That was the most difficult thing that I had to forgive my mother for. And it took years, decades, for me to get to a place of fully forgiving her. But I finally did. And can I tell you what helped me to do that, right? Because I think a lot of people struggle with forgiveness because they feel like if I forgive you, then I'm giving you a pass, or I'm giving you a green light to say that it's okay that this happened. And for me, I had to learn my mother's story. My mother was also a childhood abuse victim by her father, who was an alcoholic. She witnessed her father, unfortunately, be physically abusive to her mother. My mother was also molested as a child. And so her having all of these experiences, back in those days, you don't let anything out of the household. What happens in this house stays in this house. And when you go out of the doors, you present perfection. So my mother took that rearing that she received, and that is what she used to raise myself, right? The reason why she went into cosmetology, I never had a bad hair day, okay? Hair was always laid. Eyebrows were being arched at age 12, okay? I wasn't able to wear sneakers in junior high school and high school, all the things, but it was a facade to cover up the things that were happening in the house because we were taught to present perfection. But when I learned that my mother was doing to me what she was taught to do, and I had to understand she doesn't have access to the information, or didn't have access to the level of information that I had. The internet did not exist in the 80s, right? And so now I can Google anything and find out an answer in a matter of seconds. Whereas, if she needed to find something out, you would hope that the library would have the most recent version of the encyclopedia, right? I'm dating myself at this point. But
you
once
dating
I
us?
Huh?
I said, you dating us. We're with you.
So, but once I learned her story, it helped me to at least empathize with her. I could understand why she did the things that she did because she didn't know any better. And so for me, understanding her story helped me to, even though what she did was terrible, I can understand why she did it. And in understanding why she did it, it helped me to release her from the debt I felt like she owed me, because I understood why.
What an incredible healing journey. I can't thank you enough for summoning the courage to not just share with us something that is very personal, deeply personal, not just sharing with us on the airwaves, but committing it to the page, where there are so many people out there, names that you may never know, that we may never know, whose lives will be enriched because of what you have committed to the page. I want to encourage all of our leaders, learners, and listeners out there to go out and pick up this book. And if you don't pick it up for you, I have a feeling that there's somebody in your orbit that could use this book, that might be blessed in some way, learning from Kelli Ware's healing journey. The book is called Unconventional Grief, Grieving the Loss of a Less Than Perfect Parent. My hope is that in a world that feels topsy-turvy, the world feels a little bleak sometimes, I hope folks will see this as a silver lining, as a ray of hope. May your book be a lighthouse to many, many, many people out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate this conversation. I think it's one of those ones that are hard, but absolutely have to happen. So thanks again.
Absolutely. We'll have to have you back again soon, but we'll have to leave it here. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, Brother Andy, to our show producers, Faraji and Art and Journey. Thank you. And to each and every one of the folks that tap into the show day in and day out. We curate this show with you in mind. And we hope that you have enjoyed our offering for today. Remember, don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.